Hello and welcome to Sunrise Cardcast, your one-stop podcast shop for all things hockey cards. My name is Eric Andrews, also known in the hobby as Hammerhawks, and I'm joined by my co-host and fellow hobbyist Aaron Goldstein, better known as Crease Collector. So, as is somewhat common for our show, we wanted to begin by showing off some cards that I recently acquired for my collection. First up, I know I posted about it on our social media, so I won't go super in depth, but obviously Black Friday happened somewhat recently, and one of the things that I always love doing for Black Friday is going to one of the card shops that is near where my wife is from, because we always visit her family for Thanksgiving. So I always like going in there and seeing what deals they have and digging through, their cheap dollar boxes and stuff like that. But they always have some pretty good deals on typically like the prior year's flagship products. So I went ahead and got a few boxes of 21-22 Upper Deck Series 1, hoping to pull either Caulfield or Zegras for their young guns. And as soon as I got back home later that weekend, I ended up cracking into the first box and just saying, hey, I'm going to open a couple packs, see if I can get a young gun, and kind of just slowly chip away at the first box. So as luck would have it, very fittingly, in the second pack, boom, there's the Cole Caulfield young gun. So obviously, I was very, very happy about that. Pretty much the best card from retail that you can pull. So obviously, that was very exciting and I was very happy with that. And then shifting to the mail, a few pretty exciting things have come in recently, all very scarce. Actually, the most common one being numbered out of just three, that being from 2020-21 Upper Deck Trilogy, a signature puck NHL Shield parallel of Nicholas Hjalmarsson.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I always like that set, and so to see you find, a low number one like that, always really cool.
yeah, for sure. It's the first time that I have seen this card. Obviously, being numbered out of three, they're pretty scarce.
Might be the last time
So,
you see it.
yeah, very well could be. Very true. So, yeah, popped up on eBay and kind of had a little bit of back and forth with the seller and was able to pick it up for probably a little bit higher than I wanted to pay. But I mean, like we said, for a card that rare, you kind of just have to bite the bullet sometimes. So, yeah, definitely excited to add that one. And then the next two are actually both one of ones, which is very exciting, obviously. The first one, this is completely shifting gears away from what we would normally be talking about. But some of you guys might remember back over the summer, I talked about a guy named Jake Cousins, who's a baseball player, actually. And you might remember seeing that I picked up the gold refractor from Topps Pristine of his over the summer. And I always kind of just like keep an eye on eBay of what of his is out there. Not necessarily that I go and collect it, everything of his. That gold refractor was the only card that I had of his, but I kind of just like seeing what's out there. And, if something really catches my eye, I would consider going after it. So during one of my searches on eBay, up comes this card, which I was like, okay, I gotta have that card. Like, that's just so cool. So made a pretty strong play for it, ended up winning it. It was an auction and I ended up probably paying a little more than I was hoping for, but I think it's still worth it for sure for what it is. So that being, of course, like I said, of Jake Cousins, and it's from Topps Pristine again, and it is the Superfractor one of one. So obviously a very cool card, and you guys know by now I love Topps Pristine, so being able to get a card of that product of him but having it be the Superfractor 101 is just awesome. So that was really cool to add to my collection. And then, kind of speaking of superfractors, not that the second one is a superfractor because it's not, because that's not really a thing in hockey, but it's very similar. And when you guys see it, you'll know, oh yeah, of course, it's essentially the same thing. Another card that had been on my want list for quite a while and had never seen until it popped up a few weeks ago, that being the 2018-19 OPG Platinum Retro Golden Treasures one of one of Jacob Slavin. And again, obviously, as you see here, I was able to get it. Another one that was an eBay auction and definitely had to pay up for it, but I was actually kind of pleasantly surprised with the price. I figured it would go for more, even though I think the final price was more than what it's really worth. I expected for it to go higher. So I was, fairly satisfied with the price that it went for. So obviously getting a card like that for my collection is very, very exciting. And, like I said, the golden treasures are kind of the hockey equivalent of the superfractors in baseball and other sports. So definitely very, very excited to get that one for sure.
I mean, those cards you highlighted are just plain awesome. I mean, I love in baseball, the super refractors, like they are just iconic, in baseball. And so to get the hockey equivalent as well with that Golden Treasures 101 is just awesome. Like that, I've said this before, but they're probably my favorite, probably one of my favorite one-of-ones out there. I mean, I was gonna say favorite non-autograph or memorabilia one-of-one, but honestly, just in general. I mean, they're just great cards. So I would definitely put them at least top three for me. As far as like any one of one, like maybe ever, because they're just so awesome and they're probably identical, I would say, or very closely identical to, a super refractor in, baseball. So I mean, just such an awesome card. I've seen people like that set so much that they've done like customs, to get guys, to get their own kind of super refractor in hockey, for those who aren't part of, an OPG Platinum set. And just like it really shows how much people really enjoy those cards. So to get one for your collection, even if it's a couple years down the road, definitely well worth it. So huge pickups for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And now at this point, I've got two of the three golden treasures of Slavin that are out there. I just need the 1920 base golden treasures, which again, I've never seen before. So hopefully one day it'll pop up. But yeah, definitely getting this one is really nice. And you guys might remember earlier this year that I got the golden treasures of him from 2021. So yeah, definitely exciting. And yeah, very, very cool and obviously quite scarce pickups for sure. So always nice to have three kind of like back to back to back pickups like that in short order that are, just huge pieces for your collection. So definitely fortunate to have found all three of those. And then you guys saw obviously from the title of the episode that the main topic is 2022-23 Upper Deck Series 1. So, joining us to discuss all things about that exact product, 22-23 Upper Deck Series 1, is the man, the myth, the legend, Billy Celio, product manager at Upper Deck. Billy, as always, thank you so much for joining us.
What's up, guys? First time, long time. Just
Awesome.
joking.
Yeah, you've been around a few times, but
Just a few.
so let's just jump right on into it. Quite possibly the biggest conversation point with Upper Deck 1 this year is when it came out, with that being November 9th. So before we even talk about any of the cards that are actually in the product this year, can you just start off by talking about why it was important to you and Upper Deck to get the product out at its quote unquote normal time?
Yeah, and I think normal is the key word. We're trying to get everything back to normal. The world's trying to get back to normal. And any little way that we can help, we're gonna try. And Upper Deck Series 1 is just one of those products that the timing is very important for it, not only for the consumer that wants to get hockey cards, but like timing as in like getting these guys their rookie cards at a reasonable time. And we did the best we could to be able to get it out there in time for the expo, which is usually kind of like the date. The fall expo, it was fun. Aaron and I hung out a whole bunch while we were down there this year, ran into each other multiple times, went out for a couple sodas and some tidbits. But I'm just joking. Unfortunately, we somehow missed
We
each other.
totally missed each other.
But
After multiple go rounds from myself, just didn't see him. It turns out he was walking the floor a lot. That's all right.
yeah,
Next time.
no, it was fun because we actually, myself, Grant, and Tony did do a lot of walking around and talking to the shops and talking what's going well with them right now, what they want to see, talking to a lot of the consumers out there that and customers that want to that are buying our products. What a better place than there to get a feel for how the hockey market is. I've been to a number of shows in California recently, and you see a lot of other sports. Hockey is number one in Canada, and yes, other sports were there. I bought a little bit of everything while I was down there, but hockey reigns supreme. That's for sure. So to answer your question, Eric, we like you said, we wanted to get things back to normal. Not everything is back to normal. There's obviously products that still aren't out from a year or even 2 years ago or more. We're doing our best to get stuff out, but we felt that something like our flagship product was very important to get out on time, and we did everything within our power to do so.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I think, we can speak for a lot of collectors and that it's, appreciated that this product was released, at a, normal time. We just wanted to know with the product releasing when it did, sort of on schedule, like what was sort of the challenges that your team had to work through to sort of, kind of hit the nail on the head with series one and get this one out sort of on time.
Well, one of the big things that maybe some people don't know is the Series 1 was actually printed overseas. It's becoming more and more difficult to find time to print at different vendors, and something like Series 1, it takes some time on the machines to get all of that because there's so many different SKUs, so many different types of blasters and retail and fat packs and tins and everything. That takes a lot of time. And we're not the only people in the game trying to find time from our vendors. So we outsource this in Italy. And one of the things by doing that is we have to now account for, I guess you could call it shipping time. This stuff doesn't fly over on airplanes. It comes over on barges, and then sometimes it sits in, big bins and everything. And the timing of everything can just delay stuff. Also, I believe that was one of the problems with last year was it was printed, it was ready to go, but it was sitting in one of those big bins and it couldn't get out. And so we made sure we gave ourselves enough time to work with that. But what that does from a checklist standpoint, if we're having to add additional time in our calendar of building a product for shipping and whatnot, these checklists have to be in a lot sooner than what some people tend to think, because you've got to pick the players, you got to get photos, you got to color correct the photos, and it could take, like, I don't know, people have told me it takes a half day to a day just to color correct one photo. So imagine having to do that. I mean, obviously we have more than one person that does that, but imagine having to do that for the whole set. So it takes time, and there's a whole bunch of other different aspects, just building the designs and whatnot. So we came to the decision that Series 1 would have only holdover rookies in it to allow us to get those checklists done sooner, to get all the information to Italy that they need to be able to print these cards, so then they can package them and then they can ship them, and we can get them in time to, release around the time of early November.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely makes sense. And you kind of touched on some things that are a really nice transition into my question. So, turning to the cards themselves, one thing that always draws attention in this product is the design of the base cards. Personally, I know I really like them. I think they just look really sharp because they focus on the photography and then they also match the team's primary color as well. So, what went into the design decisions this year, and how do you feel the design came out in the end?
Last year we did the dual image, which was something different, not something new, but something different that we hadn't done in a while. We'd been told that the design year after year kind of was starting to look the same, so we wanted to kind of add a little change to it, and we added the dual image. This year, I think we wanted to minimalize things and give the photograph more room to shine. Upper Deck is known for its photography. We've got, a lot of guys that shoot for us, and I think they do a very good job, and they have unique photos and very crisp looking photos, and in action stuff. And one thing that people don't understand with design is when we like parallel stuff out, one of the difficult parallels for Series 1 is the clear cut parallel, because you have to like put a bunch of information in a little small area, because you got to have all your licenses and logos and everything like that on the back, along with the player name, number. Like, you can't put the stats on the back of those, there's not enough room. But you still got to get all the information in there. And don't get me wrong, we made really nice designs, but it would take away from some of the image, and then we would have to find places for this. So because it was kind of minimal on the bottom, and then we had a large photo area, it kind of gave the photo people a little more flexibility when it comes to being able to select photos. And I think you saw a lot more unique photos this year as opposed to previous years, where sometimes it just kind of looks like the same image for a number of players. I think this year a lot of the players had some sort of uniqueness to the images.
Very cool. Yeah, like I for one also did really enjoy, that design of the base cards. I think, they may not get as much attention as base cards maybe used to, in the past, but it's definitely something that is important to a lot of collectors, for sure. Sticking with the design, like obviously with the Young Guns, what went into that design, but you already touched on the checklist, but is there anyone that you would maybe focus on yourself if you're looking at this Young Guns checklist? And also just, of course, what went into the design of those cards too.
I mean, the obvious names, Beniers and Boldy are two of the two of the big guys right now in the set. Those were two that we saw at the expo that most people were going after. There's a few other names. Marco Rossi was a really high draft pick. Just trying to think here off the top of my head. Oh, Jack Quinn. Add another Quinn to the mix, and Buffalo's having kind of a fun year. Unfortunately, you're asking me. There's not too many wings that really stick out for us. If you guys need a place to send your Lucas Reichel young guns, our boy Pat, one of our other project managers, he'll take them all, whether he's good or not. He's a Blackhawks fan, so that's his boy. But there are a number of guys out there that you have your top two. I think you have a few others that are kind of lingering. Oh, I'm sorry, your number one pick too, Owen Power. My bad, brain fart. There's another name, but you have a lot of other like kind of mid-tier young guns. I think this is honestly, it feels like we say this every year, but this is one of our strongest holdover classes. I'm glad because it's helped out Series One quite a bit, and a lot of people are worried. Oh, we wanted Shane Wright as the number one pick or I'm sorry, as the big name at the time, and then obviously um, the draft kind of messed a lot of stuff up, but still a lot of those top picks, everyone was worried that they weren't going to be in Series One. Series One wasn't going to do well, and here you have two of the top rookies in Series One.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, Beniers and Power are the ones that immediately jump out, but Boldy as well, of course, too.
My sister lives in Minnesota, so I have to say Boldy.
Fair.
Of
No,
course,
he's
too.
he's a good one for sure. So then that brings us, to the list of the insert sets in the product. And of course, there are some new ones. I want to start out with some of the ones that are returning to the product, such as canvas and portraits. Two things that I'm curious to hear about are the decision to make the black and white canvas parallels as opposed to just having the black canvas from last year. So that's the first thing. And then second, I know that you always love picking a theme for the portrait cards. So I'd love to hear what your inspiration was for those this year.
So the canvas cards, it's an interesting story. Last year they were the black parallels, and in my head, I'm sitting here thinking black canvas, and I'm thinking like almost like a black border, black background, like the card to be a lot darker. And then when you look at the design, that's not possible. And so the concession at the end was just to kind of make it a certain area black that used to be tan on the card. And after that, myself and Grant, were like, we got to make this look a lot different. It can't just look like a color shift. So we decided, and it costs a little bit more money, but we'll discuss spending money here probably throughout this interview. We decided to spend the money to get all new plates and just make the images black and white, and I like that decision a lot more. I thought you think of the SP Authentic, like the Future Watch, the dark Future Watches, and how it's like such a contrast. That's what I kind of originally wanted, but I think the black and white images is kind of a nice little touch too.
And then the portraits.
Ah, the portraits. You know me, I love my portraits cards. Something always kind of like tries to I try to get inspired. We did the floating head. We did the laser beams, the 90s, they call them the Saved by the Bell portraits. We did the Western black and whites, but unfortunately, we didn't execute them like they were supposed to be executed. Like we had a design. I thought this is what the cards were going to look like. And then when I saw the finished cards, I'm like, why are there close-up images? This is supposed to be, like waist up, looking like the Wild West, and they didn't. And so that was a little frustrating. So this year, I saw some images that looked kind of like some just artwork that looked really cool, where it was almost like gold etching on a black background. And I wanted to try to figure out how to incorporate that. Do we make initially like messing around with black and whites again? We thought maybe we should put the player black and white. Maybe we should have the player in that gold etching or something like that. Again, when it comes to spending money, honestly, I feel this card probably could have done even better if we would have used deco foil as opposed to just using a PMS color on it. A PMS color, so you guys know, it's an extra plate that they use to add another color that can change from form to form. So you can keep the same 4-color image that you have. And then when you see like colored parallels, basically what that is that's the PMS plate changing colors. So that's what I mean when I say PMS plate. I apologize. Probably a lot of people out there that don't like, let's just like talk about PMS.
No, it's like
Um,
that's very interesting, like hearing more about that process.
yeah,
Totally cool.
so I think it probably would have looked a little cooler with deco foil, but as we'll get into, we spent some money elsewhere, and I think in the long run, I still think those cards look really nice. I'm gonna warn you, I took it to a whole new level next year for portrait cards, whole new level. It's gonna be the best portrait set ever, ever. You heard it here first or second or third. I don't know. I probably have told a few people this, but
We're
yeah,
gonna go with first.
it is, yeah, it is. This was recorded a month ago. This is the best. Next year's series one will have the best portrait design ever.
Awesome, awesome. We'd love to hear that. Speaking of some new sets, so we're just going to cover that too. Can you just share a little bit of information about the new center of attention set, defense mechanism, freestyles, and my favorite, population count for our listeners?
So here's where I was telling you that we spent a little money. A lot of time, these inserts that come in series one are just printed on regular paper, might have a pass of deco foil. We kind of wanted to spice it up. We wanted to give you a little bit of shine to some of your inserts. So, the center of attention, it's just kind of a play on the word center. It's an insert of, centers throughout the league. I think our design team kind of came up with a cool design, almost looks a little James Bond-esque in the background if you think about it. Who knows, maybe the same designer that works on our Bond sets was working on this insert. I don't know,
Maybe.
but I thought that was cool. That was just, like I said, that was just a play on the word center. As you guys know, every now and then I like to come up with clever insert names like box filler or stuff like that that just kind of sound funny. And then the defense mechanisms, I remember the phrase turn on the defense mechanism, and it's just kind of like almost like this robot thing or whatever, and I wanted to just kind of like a repeated, whether it's like a do 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 do, you can, I'm saying do 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 and people can't see me, you guys can see my body motions I'm making, but kind of like a repetitive image is what I was looking for. So it took a few tries to get that one down, but I think it ended up with the substrate that it's on. I think the card actually looks pretty cool. What other ones were you? There was one before population count that you mentioned. I can't remember. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. There was the freestyles and then the
Oh,
population count.
the freestyles. Yeah, that was just, I just wanted to make a cool looking card with some technology, and those came out great. Just kind of gave it a little street art kind of look to it. The foil, the light FX foil that's on top of it, just really made those cards pop and the color pop on those cards. I was really happy with how those turned out. The population count is just kind of a fun insert. And when I say fun, we listen to feedback, and one of the things that people constantly ask for in series one is more numbered cards. It's like, oh, well, you've got the exclusives and high glosses. We barely see any numbered cards in the set. So this is kind of a way of cheating by not necessarily paying for numbering to make numbered cards, because there are only 1,000 of those population count 1,000 cards. There are only 500 of the 500s, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
See, I didn't know that. Like, that's really cool.
Yeah,
Like, I had
there's
no idea.
yeah, it's
Wicked.
not like, oh, no, there's the exact number. But what people don't understand is when you number a card, for some, like there's different types of numbering, but if you want that foil numbering, for some reason, they have not come up with a system yet. They still use the change the number, pull the lever, change the number, pull the lever, change the number, pull the lever. So imagine how much we get charged when they have to do that for a thousand times, and then 500 times, and then 150, like all those times. That adds up. That costs money. And then if we spend that money on that, then we can't spend it on other stuff. So I like that. And honestly, like everybody's getting their cards graded now. It's like people were grading commons a year or two ago of just base cards. It was everything's graded. And if I listen to a lot of line groups, I listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff, and a lot of times and even if you look on eBay sales, it'll say like pop count whatever, pop count this. And here's another thing that you guys learn. Guess what? Not all insert names can get approved. When you say the word pop, guess who probably owns that? Funko Pops. And I wanted to be called Pop Count. And they're like, guess what? You can't call it pop count because of Funko Pops. And I was just like, really? And they're like, yep. So we don't mess around with that. So we ended up just calling it population count instead. But like I said, you see like population count, pop counts all over the place. People talk about it. So it was a fun way of getting a numbered insert in there, another numbered insert in there. And it kind of relates to what's going on in the market nowadays.
I thought it was a really, really fun and unique idea. So definitely props on that. One other insert that I know has generated buzz, and I know that these were Easter eggs, so I don't know how much you can share about them, but the home ice glow in the dark cards. Is there anything that you can share about those?
Yeah, they're out. I can talk about them. I can't tell you how many there are. I mean, there's a Stanley Cup, and then there's one for every team, I believe. So these were inspired by, I went to a Red Wings game, and before the Red Wings game, oh, in case Eric, you don't know, that's the team that's in Detroit. I believe currently they would be like in the playoffs. Like they used to have a rival against the Blackhawks, but the Blackhawks just really haven't done much this year. So I don't know if it even counts anymore. But anyway, went to a Red Wing game, and before the game, like they almost had, it was almost like a laser light show, and they like turn off the lights, and everything was like red tinted, and then they had like these banners that were on the ice, like covering the ice, like representing different stuff, and they did a whole bunch of other stuff, and I'm like, well, that's kind of cool. Why don't we make a home ice where it's like the ring, and then like turn off the lights, and then those, it's almost like those banners come up. So that was definitely inspired by something that I saw at a Red Wings game.
Very cool. Yeah, it's often like nice to hear your inspiration behind these sets. It's it's always really cool because what people don't know is, each year you have to come up with new designs and those ideas have to come from somewhere. So very cool.
Yeah, and as I said, each one has a different one. So like the Blackhawks would have one that said couldn't win with Marc-Andre Fleury on it, you know. Um,
Little themed things, like
yeah, like or like championship banners or retired numbers or something. But for the Blackhawks, I think that's what we put is only team not to win with Marc-Andre Fleury.
amazing, amazing. I wonder what the Leafs one would say. Like it would probably just be just pure just sadness and hope.
It's
Just false hope would be hung on a banner.
there's just a smile, a frowny face in the
Yeah, just
middle.
yeah, exactly. Amazing. So we talked a lot about what is in the product and what people can expect, but we can talk about something that isn't in the product, and that's memorabilia cards. Can you just shed some light on why there isn't any memorabilia cards in the product? I personally don't mind. I like that there's sort of that push away from it, and and making them sort of scarce, if you will, like in other products. But I'm sure that was sort of your line of thinking, I guess.
I feel like we've had this conversation for the past 3 or 4 years. It used to be two memorabilia pieces in a box. Then it went down to one, and people were like, "Oh," but it still was series one. And then it went down to one every other box, and then it went to one every third box, and then it went. I think it stopped at one every third. It's just, we get so many jerseys. We get so many jerseys per player, and we want to use those jerseys in that patch. I mean, these are game used jerseys in products that they might value out a little bit more. And what we were seeing was those jersey cards in Series One. We would see all throughout the dollar box. I saw a whole bunch of them sorting through cards at the Fall Expo, and it's unfortunate because our design team makes it, and I think they do a good job, but it was costing us more money to make the cards than what they're worth. And so we kind of just stepped aside and decided, does it really need jersey cards? And we talked to a number of people and consultants and stuff and say, would they be missed? Would they not? And it was a resounding there. They wouldn't be missed as long as you find something to replace them with. And I think we did some fun inserts and added some technology to like stuff like the freestyles and the population counts like you were talking about. Stuff like that I think has added value to the set and will cost out just as much or if not more than a jersey card.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to hear that. And, I agree with Aaron. I think the product is really solid without him. So I think that was, a very understandable, but also a good decision too. I think that's all the questions we have. Is there anything else that you'd want to share about the product before we break into a box?
No, I've gotten a lot of positive feedback. I think our people in Italy have done a really good job. The condition issues, I think, have been cut down quite sufficiently. Obviously, not every box is going to be perfect. Not every pack is going to be perfect, but I think the conditions of the card is obviously a major improvement on that. And like I said, each year I build this set, I feel like it's the best one. I've already built next year's set, and I'll tell you right now, next year's is the best one. I'm just kidding. But it's fun because each year you can find some stuff and figure some stuff out that people like, and then you can just add it to the next year and add it to the next year. It started off with stuff like day with the cup, and then we still have our day with the cups and the photo variations. Some of these inserts we continue to add each year after year, and it just makes the product even better the next year. So glad you guys had me on here to talk about it. I hope you pull a high gloss Beniers, and then we can get some sort of, I'll videotape it and we can get a reaction video, and then we can become YouTube stars or something.
Of course, that's what we're going for. So yeah, we have a box that Paul at Upper Deck was kind enough to send us. He actually ended up sending it twice. The first one got lost in the mail, so he was kind enough to send another one so that we were able to have one to record with you. Hence why this episode is a little bit later than we were hoping. But again, huge thanks, Paul. Appreciate it. And we will dig right on in here. Excited to see all this stuff. I haven't opened any myself, so it'll be fun to see these inserts in person. First pack here. Again, the base cards just look so nice. I love the focus on the photography. They just look great. So I will just note the hits, of course, so we're not taking a whole lot of time. So first pack, we've got a Superstar Honor Roll of Jonathan Huberdeau.
I think, as always, you're going to pull a lot of goalie cards. That's just my thing. So
Probably.
as is tradition on this show, like you pulling a bunch of goalie cards in your box that you don't need.
All right, so second pack, we've got our first Young Gun for the Philadelphia Flyers, Linus Sandin. Again, really nice design. I like the touch of color there at the bottom on those. I think they look really sharp this year. The packs are opening pretty easily, which is nice as well.
One thing, Billy, that you noted about the quality, you managed to try to improve on it this year. I think like maybe I sound like an Upper Deck, like Homer, I guess, but like I don't know why like everyone expects, a perfectly conditioned card like right out of the pack. Like that's just not realistic. And I think a lot of the hate on condition is really not cool. But like that's just my opinion. Like I don't know. Like I think if a company puts cards in packs and then puts those packs in a box, I think they've done their job. You know what I mean? Like as long as the cards aren't cut in half, I think, like you guys held up your end of the bargain, Like you're gonna get the odd ones that like went through a weird roller or something. That happens. But all the other stuff, I think it's really kind of uncalled for.
Like I mentioned, there's a new focus on grading cards. And so everybody wants the 10 because they know that it goes up in value quite substantially if they get a gem mint 10. And if they don't, then the price of grading had gone up during the pandemic and whatnot. So I think that has something to do with it, is the fact that people are just wanting to get that gem mint 10. They're
Oh, for
expecting
sure.
everything to be a gem mint 10.
For sure.
And another thing is, a lot of our competitors use Chrome now, and you can't even rip a Chrome card. Like I don't want to say it's impossible because I don't know if anyone's tried, but try to rip a Chrome card in half and tell me how it goes. Like those things are impossible. So they're gonna have little pointy edges. You're not gonna get like a ding on a Chrome card very often. So comparing the paper cards that we make compared to a Chrome card, you might find a little more damage on a paper. And I'm sorry, Eric. I know
No.
you want to rip through this box, so keep going.
No, all good, all good. That's always good hearing
Just don't
more
actually
insight.
rip through it. Like just,
True, true, because they're not
Yeah,
Chrome
don't.
cards. So
Unless I was gonna say, unless you think you can rip through it for real, because we all want to see it now.
like one of those guys who like rip a phone book in half,
true.
like kind of like that, except a box of cards at once.
That's
Yeah,
The
funny.
ultimate rip.
you got me at the office. You got Tony's attention now. Do you have a Chrome card? I want to see. We want to see you try to rip it.
Got a debut dates of Phil Tomasino. So
I mean,
not a
that's
Chrome
pretty
card.
close.
That's it.
they're
That's pretty
really nice
close.
in person.
They
Really
are
nice in
nice.
person. Onto the fourth pack here. Can immediately tell we've got a Dazzlers. They obviously jump right out of the pack. For the St. Louis Blues, Robert Thomas. And those look really nice again this year, as always. Yeah, I really enjoy that a lot of the inserts do use those kind of like the rainbow foil board effect type of thing. I think it really does bring them to a different level for sure. So I really enjoy those. Got another young gun here for the Pittsburgh Penguins, Valtteri Puistinen.
Speaking of those Chrome cards, like maybe if there's a way to source it out, just for a cool insert set, like it doesn't have to be in UD1 or something, but get like a cool Chrome card insert or something. That would be interesting. And then get people to rip it. Like do a rip card and then and have it be Chrome.
Be a good challenge.
Yeah, it would be.
Pack number 6. Got our French parallel for the Seattle Kraken, Daniel Sprong. Pack number 7. Got a superstar honor roll. This is a very good name to get right now. Jason Robertson for the Dallas Stars.
Dude is on
Nice.
fire.
He sure
He is. That's crazy.
On to pack number 8. We've got our first center of attention for the Colorado Avalanche, Nazem Kadri. And again, these are very, very nice in person. Really nice. Pack number 9. We've got our first portraits for the Edmonton Oilers, Leon Draisaitl.
Those are nice.
Yeah, I really like them. I think they're really cool. Just something definitely very different than they've been in the past years.
Oh, wait till you see next year's.
Number 10, we've got another center of attention for the Calgary Flames, Elias Lindholm. Yeah, those are really sharp looking cards in person. I mean, I've seen them like on video and stuff, so you can kind of get an idea, but they're definitely even nicer in person for sure. Pack 11, we have got a young gun for the Columbus Blue Jackets, Carson Meyer. On to pack 12, which is the halfway point of the box.
Powers Young Gun coming up, maybe.
I hope so. That would be a nice one to get. Let's see, looks like our hit of the box is a Pink Dazzlers. Also got a base card of Andrew Mangiapane for the Calgary Flames. But the hit of the pack, like I said, a Pink Dazzler for the Calgary Flames, Andrew Mangiapane.
Oh wow, this is like an Italian pack. Billy mentioned that the cards are made in Italy, so I think this makes sense. Yeah, it's definitely super Italian. Very cool.
Billy will like this one. We've got a debut dates for the Detroit Red Wings, Lucas Raymond. Let's see here. This is pack 14, I believe. We've got, ooh, that is sharp looking. That's really cool. We've got a Freestyles. I was kind of hoping that we'd get one of these because I know people have said great things about them, and they are really nice in person. But anyway, Freestyles for the New Jersey Devils, Jack Hughes.
That's super cool. I did graffiti like once as a kid, and so this brings back all those like rebellious memories. That's so awesome.
Yeah,
Nice
those
hit.
are incredible in person. To pack number 15, got another portraits again for the Edmonton Oilers, Connor McDavid.
Nice.
Can't complain about a McDavid, that's for sure. Pack number 16, got a young gun for the Detroit Red Wings, Chase Pearson. Can't say I know a whole lot about Chase Pearson. Maybe Billy can enlighten us on that one. Not sure, but I'm not sure I've even heard that name before.
He's gone. He got up from his chair. He doesn't even want to explain it.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
I mean, it's a Detroit Red Wings player. Why would you even want to waste energy talking about a player like that? So we weren't trash talking the Red Wings while you were gone.
Yeah, of course you guys pull a Red Wing and then start talking as soon as they come to vacuum underneath my desk and stuff. So I had to step away for a second.
What's the scouting report on Chase Pearson?
He plays for the Red Wings.
Okay.
Love it.
Good stuff. Next pack, we've got our first UD canvas of the box. Surprised it took this long. For the Florida Panthers, Carter Verhaeghe. Pack number 18. We've got young guns for the Columbus Blue Jackets, Trey Fix-Wolanski. Pack number 19. We've got our first defense mechanism. Again, these are really nice in person, just like the other inserts. For the Nashville Predators, Roman Josi. Definitely cool. I know Jacob Slavin is in that set, so I'm excited to get that whenever I get around to it. Hopefully I get one in the next few packs. We'll see. On to pack number 20. Got a Udi canvas for the Detroit Red Wings, Alex Nedeljkovic.
Finally, a goalie hit. Jeez.
True.
Been
True.
waiting for it.
Pack number 21. One young gun I would not mind is Pyotr Kochetkov. I, for whatever reason, just kind of like him. Goalie prospect for the Hurricanes. Let's see here. We've got, alrighty. I believe this is our 6th young gun, if I have been keeping track correctly. And it's not exactly a bad one to get for the Seattle Kraken, Matty Beniers.
Nice.
Hey,
Very
not
cool.
not a bad one to get. Yeah,
That's
probably only one
awesome.
of the best ones to get.
Yes,
That's
aka the best one to get.
Right,
So
of course, of course. Great hit.
love that.
New team, love it.
Love that. Awesome. So that certainly makes the box for sure. So got 3 packs to go here. So we'll see what else we can find. Pack number 22.
Hey, Aaron, are you cringing as much as I am not having him put that in like a penny, at least a penny sleeve? He just kind of set it to the side, like he can't like put it in a one touch or penny sleeve or anything.
Like, I'm just surprised he didn't like encapsulate it in gold and then, put it aside in a safe.
Oh, I actually
Yeah.
I already submitted it to PSA actually. So
Of course, of course.
Just scan it.
Yeah.
Everything's electronic now.
so next pack we've got a UD canvas, and I think Aaron jinxed us here. We've got another goalie for the Vancouver Canucks, Thatcher Demko.
Love it.
Nice photo on that one. Really cool. Pack number 23. And don't worry, I assure you I will put that in the one touch when we're done. So where it rightfully belongs. Got another UD canvas for the New York Rangers, Mika Zibanejad. And our 24th and final pack. Trying to think what we still need. Maybe like a rookie retrospective or something. Haven't seen one of those yet. I think we've got our canvas, got our portraits, got our young guns. Last pack, and it is indeed a rookie retrospective for the Los Angeles Kings, Sean Dursey. It's another really cool foiled out card there. Love that. Really nice looking card. So, yeah, all in all, really nice box. Obviously, getting the Beniers is about as good as you can do. So, but even just throughout the rest, I mean, there were a lot of really cool things in here. Love those freestyle cards. That Jack Hughes freestyles is really, really nice. I'm sure that would be a really fun insert set to put together. And of course, I mean, who can forget about this beautiful Pink Dazzlers card? That's really nice as well. So, well, any thoughts from either of you guys about the box?
Cool break. Like, definitely some fun cards. It was really interesting hearing about, the what went into the designs and then seeing some of them, obviously. So yeah, like, really cool product for sure.
Awesome. Well, Billy, unless there's anything else you want to add about the product or any other stuff that you're working on, we don't want to take up too much of your time.
Yeah, I think you saw a nice variety when you opened the box too. That was one thing that we really wanted to focus on. I'm not sure if it's going to be the end of the year, the beginning of the year, but there's rumor that Metal Universe is going to be coming out here fairly soon too. So look out for that here within the next month or so, I'm guessing.
Awesome. Well, I know
Can't
we
wait.
enjoyed that product last year, so that'll be fun. Is that one that you did again this year?
Yes, that is one that I did.
Okay.
Metal Universe.
Awesome. Well, we'll have to have you back on when the time comes for that. I know that was certainly a very, very well received product last year, so it'll be fun to see that. Well, hey, again, we really appreciate your time, Billy. Thanks as always.
Take care.
All right. Thanks, guys.
That was good.
Yeah, always
Okay,
a pleasure.
box.
Always a pleasure having Billy on. And yes, that
Absolutely.
was definitely a
fun.
very
It was
good
a fun.
box.
It was a fun box.
Yes, for sure. Obviously, getting the top young gun, you can never complain. So,
Of course.
yeah, definitely fun to see the newest flagship product. And obviously, we really always appreciate Billy's insight. It's one thing to just look at a checklist and, kind of make some observations about things and stuff like that. But, actually hearing the inspiration behind a certain design or, an insert set or the name of an insert or, whatever it might be, there's obviously no one better to talk to about that stuff than Billy, because he is the guy that did all that. So yeah, it's great to have him be willing to come join us and talk about this stuff and get that information for you guys. So, again, we really appreciate him being willing to take the time and share this information with us as always. So always fun having him on the show. And obviously we just did a contest, so this stuff won't be included in that giveaway, but we'll start up a new one at some point, probably hold on to these for a while, and maybe we'll add them to eventually Series 2 and Extended Series, kind of like what we did for 21-22. So yeah, eventually some of these cards will make their way into your guys' hands as well. So stay tuned for that. I think that's pretty much all I have, unless there's anything else, Aaron, that you want to add. We can wrap it up.
I really like those population counts. That little insight about, there being only 1,000 or 500 or whatever. I thought that was so cool. Like I didn't know that coming into this episode, and now I do. And I think it's really cool. So
true.
very
One
nice
thing
idea.
I didn't mention this to him or ask him, but if these come back, one idea that I think would be really cool, I'm sure it would cost more
Like
to
a
do.
black label.
You could do that, but I think it would be really cool if you somehow did like, how Upper Deck has like technology cards like Synergy, where like you have acetate and then there's foil on top. I think it'd be really cool if you did the back of the card as acetate, and then that card because if you look at the population count cards,
Okay, so
it's kind of like a
it
card in
looks
a graded
like,
case.
so it actually looks like,
If
the
it looked
small
like a
card in the
slabbed
middle, and
card.
then that's actually really cool. Or you could do like a mini slab, if that makes sense, like, and then put a tiny card in there, like almost like the
True.
old like mini cards when they had like the framed border cards. You could do
True.
an actual framed card and call that a graded card. But
That
I
would be
mean, yeah,
interesting.
like that idea in general is really sweet.
Yeah,
Great idea.
because I think the idea of the insert is really, really good.
Oh, it
And
is.
I even really like the design of them this year. I think they look really, really nice. But I think if you did take it to that next level and kind of said, like, okay, we're embracing like the plastic element and stuff like that, I think that could really take them to a whole other level, and it would be
And
really cool.
if you make them super rare, like those clear cut foundations ones, maybe they cost a little bit more to be made, but you limit them, and then they're case hits or something. I think that would be a really big hit with collectors.
For sure. Yeah, they'd probably even be scarcer than that, because I know.
Yeah,
Let's
or
see.
like whatever it is, they probably would be scarcer than that, but just for an idea.
No, for sure. But yeah, I'm looking at the box right now. So clear cut foundations are 1 in 360. So those are even a little scarcer than one per case, because there's 288 packs in a case. So yeah, you get one acetate insert card per case, whether that be a clear cut foundation, clear cut league leaders, clear cut honored members update, or an attacking zone, which is a new insert this year that we didn't talk about with Billy. But yeah, you could add those into that list almost and do it that way too. That would be certainly interesting for sure. So yeah, Billy, if you end up listening to this after the fact, free idea for you for the future. So I guess it would have to be for 24-25 at this point, since 23-24 Upper Deck 1 is already built. But I think that's all we've got for this episode. Obviously, that was really fun. So hope you guys enjoyed that insight and the box break as well. So as always, please be sure to follow us on social media. We can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Sunrise Cardcast, and on Twitter at Sunrise CC. Please also be sure to subscribe to the show on your podcast platform of choice to make sure you never miss a future episode. Until next time on Sunrise Cardcast, keep collecting those hockey cards.